I went and seen Alex Ferguson afterwards. He asked me what I wanted to do. I know myself now that if I turned the deal down, the whole deal was off. Andy Cole wouldn't have ended up there. I remember Gary Neville saying to me, "Just say you don't want to go." I mean, Sir Alex is obviously known as for the hairdryer treatment. You walked into training, and if you seen him walking down the corridor, you knew straight away what type of mood he was in. Whereas Kevin was quite laid back with it all. I think, as far as man management goes, there's nobody better than Kevin Keegan. We had 19 home games and we won 17, drew one and lost one. To not win a league after that, is absolutely criminal. Hit the ball past him and you'll get there first. It was an incredible night.
And I look at Alanga now and I think you've got no skills.
But he's quick.
But you're quick.
Yeah.
It's always between Peter Beardsley and Eric Cantona. I just slightly edge towards.
Hello, you. Welcome to another very special episode of Adopted Geordies. It's the Newcastle United fan podcast, which contains the captain, Mr. Rob Lee. I'm Andy Jaye, and we are going to chat to you today with a bona fide Newcastle legend. Now, I can tell you, this is one of the guests that you guys have been saying to me either in person when I've been up north or lots of you in my DMs and so on have been saying, you've got to get this guy on, you've got to get this guy on, you've got to get this guy on. So much so that when I put out a photograph of him at the weekend saying, this guy's coming on, and I said, anyone got any questions? Nobody had any questions, Rob. Everyone was just like, yes, legend, awesome, legend, legend. There was no, oh, can you ask him about this, that, or the other? It was just everyone trying to say, what a legend. I'm confident most of you are already certain you know who it is. It's the main man, Rob, isn't it? Do you want to do the honours?
Mr. Keith Gillespie, the Irish George Best. The Irish George Best?
The Irish George Best? What's happened to you, Rob? Last week you called us adoptive Geordies.
I know.
Now it's Keith.
I don't know what's going on with words, yeah. Irish George.
Keith, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Keith.
Have you ever been dubbed the Irish George Best?
Both of those things are true.
Yeah. My nickname when I left Newcastle and I ended up at Blackburn, Chris Sutton, he started calling me Bestie, so
Bestie.
that sort of stuck for the rest of my career.
That's not bad.
I wonder why that is.
That's not bad.
I do always say it was probably for what I did off the pitch rather than on it.
Well, look, Keith, how much do you want to talk about that? Let's be cards on the table. We've got lots of fun we can chat about. There's obviously a few subjects in your history that you may or may not want to discuss. I'm going to be led by you. Shall we start with, I'm just going to put this out there for people wondering, by the way. We're aware of all the stuff that's happening with the club at the moment. We'll talk about that on another episode. This one is just about Keith. We're going to have fun with Keith, right? I think let's do that, if that's all right. Keith, take us back to that big, what I'm calling a swap deal now. Andy Cole, you must remember this.
Yeah.
Andy Cole leaving the club, Kevin Keegan coming out on the steps. What no one necessarily noticed at the start it wasn't Andy Cole leaving, it was Keith Gillespie arriving. Tell us about your time. Tell us about your arrival at the club. How did it feel to join the biggest club in the world from Manchester United?
To be fair, I mean the whole thing came completely out of the blue because I'd sort of just I'd been in and around the first team at Man United, but I'd played, I think it was the previous 3 games, and we were going away to Sheffield United for an FA Cup game, and I thought I'd be playing again, and the team was announced. I think at that stage there was probably only 2 or 3 subs. They were announced and I wasn't involved. So all of a sudden, Alex Ferguson pulls me aside and says, "Look, we're in for this striker at Newcastle." Never mentioned any names, but I obviously knew who it was. He says, "But the only way the deal is going to happen is if you go the other way." He says, "Have a think about it, and I'll speak to you after the game." And this was at a time with the Champions League was that you had like 3 foreigners and 2 assimilated players. So if you were Scottish, Welsh, Irish, you were deemed as a foreigner. So he obviously needed to get English in, and that was why Andy Cole was top of the list. So I watched the game. All sorts going through my head. Obviously grew up a Man United fan, and you're going away thinking you're going to play, and all of a sudden within a conversation of 2 minutes, you're thinking about leaving the club. So one thing that always struck me, I obviously didn't know too much about Newcastle, but as a first year apprentice at Newcastle, I remember Newcastle got promoted and coming. I remember them coming to Old Trafford to play. They drew one each that day. I think it
That's
was
it.
Andy
Yeah, I
Cole
remember.
actually who scored, and I just remember how mad and how fanatical the fans were. And that season before I went to Newcastle, I played against them in pre-season up at Ibrox. Played against them in Belfast in Billy Bingham's testimonial. Played against them in the Coca-Cola Cup, whatever it was called then, at
Kept
St
scoring,
James's
didn't you? Yeah, I
St
remember.
James's Park.
You
And
did. You
then
kept
yeah,
scoring.
well, I scored then 3 days after that at Old Trafford, and we won 2-0.
That's it. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, to be fair, it didn't take me long to sort of make up my mind because I still had Andre Kanchelskis at Man United, who's a fantastic winger. So and I wasn't guaranteed to get that regular first team football. So we'd won the game, and I went and seen Alex Ferguson afterwards. He asked me what I wanted to do. Um, I know myself now that if I turned the deal down, the whole deal was off. Andy Cole wouldn't have ended up there. I remember Gary Neville saying to me, "Just say you don't want to go." But I had actually made up my mind, and what happened then? We went to a hotel. The rest of the players went home. Myself and Alex Ferguson went to a hotel, and Kevin was there, Freddie Fletcher and Freddie Shepherd. But the first thing we did when we got to the hotel, this is before mobile phones. Alex Ferguson got me to ring my mum, and he explained the situation, and then Alex Ferguson said, "Look, is it okay if I act as Keith's agent? I know he hasn't got one at the minute." So um, she was fine with that. And I remember I probably had, before getting into this sort of room, a big round table, I probably had about 30, 40 seconds with Kevin. And Rob knows like how quickly he can sell something to you.
Uh,
He done that straight away, So I was going in there happy with what I was doing. And Alex Ferguson did the contract. At the time, obviously I was part of the class of '92 with Beckham and Scholes and Nicky Butt, Gary Neville, people like that, and we had all signed professional contracts, but we were on £250 a week. We were not on big money, and I remember Alex Ferguson saying, "Say nothing. I'll do everything." And I sat there, shy, sort of 19-year-old, head down, and Alex Ferguson's got the pen and paper out, and all of a sudden he says, "Look, Keith's on £600 a week at the minute. We want you to double it." And I sort of lifted my head and got this look as if to say, "Don't you say a word here." Um, but Newcastle agreed it straight away, and the next day I was on my way to Newcastle to sign. I think there was, because of how sort of irate the fans were, because it was Andy Cole going. We obviously seen Kevin on the steps and that, and I didn't actually stay at the Gosford Park that night where most players would. I actually stayed at Freddie Fletcher's house and then signed the contract the next day. And then on the Friday, went to Maiden Castle for my first training session. So it was all a bit of a whirlwind, from, as I say, from going thinking you're starting, a match for Man United, and within a couple of days you're at a new club, and that's how quickly things can
wow.
happen in football.
Did you have, because that is ridiculous, having 90 minutes to make a decision like that, and crikey, Keith, did you have in the early days, the first, let's say, 10 days of being a Newcastle United player, did you have any major second thoughts? Were you like, "Oh, I've screwed this up. What have I done?"
No, not not
What was
one
what was your
bit.
first game, Keith? What was the first game you played?
First
'Cause I can't
game,
remember.
first game was Sheffield Wednesday away. We drew nil each, but I was sub. I come on at half time. I have a funny feeling you went off injured.
Did I?
I come on at half time. That was on the Saturday, and then it was either Tuesday or Wednesday during the week. We played Wimbledon at home. That was my first start. We beat them 2-1.
Yeah.
But no, I had no regrets from day one. Because I had signed the next game was actually Man United on the Sunday. at St James's Park, and it was agreed that myself and Coley couldn't play. So
Interesting. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
so I actually had my first night out in the Quayside on the Saturday night. And I woke up on the Sunday thinking I've definitely made the right move.
That's
Can't
fair.
be the case.
It's,
Bring some players in.
it's all coming to make sense now, isn't it? Oh, you got to love it. I mean, Keith, look, I'm fascinated by this because obviously Alex Ferguson and Kevin Keegan were known as having this amazing rivalry. The mind games that Ferguson played on Kevin, and that I would love it if we beat them, and all of that. That's gone down in folklore as being this brilliant rivalry. But there aren't many players that have first-hand experience of playing for them both, especially during that really exciting time. How did they stack up as managers? What were the sort of key things? What were their similarities? What were the differences between Sir Alex and King Kev?
I mean, Sir Alex is obviously known as you know, for the hairdryer treatment, things like that. And, he was one of them where you walked into training, and if you seen him walking down the corridor, you knew straight away what type of mood he was in. Whereas Kevin was quite laid back with it all, I think. And as far as man management goes, there's nobody better than Kevin Keegan. He made things simple, especially training. Rob will tell you, you're five asides most days. Um, and that's what players love. Players love that. Kevin, Kevin Kevin, you wouldn't really see lose it. You knew he was unhappy, but there wouldn't have been, you know, it'd be more constructive with it all. There
It
wouldn't
was
be
more simple,
shouting.
Keith, wasn't it? Because
Yeah,
Kevin never tried to change any of us, did he? So when he brought you in, he would have said to you, Keith, all I want you to do is beat that fullback and get crosses in.
yeah, exactly.
He
But
wouldn't have made you change, would he? That's what you wanted to do. That's what he would make him. That's what he would say to him. Just do what you're good at. I'm not
yeah,
changing what you do.
yeah, Kevin used to say to me, you know what he was like before matches, and team talks were done and dusted in no time, and then is the special trait he had was going around that dressing room just speaking to you individually,
Yeah,
and I always remember him saying, "I don't care if you lose the ball 9 times in a row, I want you to keep doing it because that 10th
yeah,
time you might put a cross in, and to have somebody." Giving you that because as a winger, it's all about confidence being a winger, and if you're not having a good day, you're dribbling with it a lot, maybe you're losing it. To have somebody who's got that confidence in you to tell you just to keep going, and that one time might be enough to win the game. So
exactly.
he was so good. I always get asked who my favorite manager was. And I obviously had Ferguson, Keegan, Dalglish, Hullet, Souness, big names.
Yeah.
But it's I don't even have to think about it. It's Kevin Keegan, and that's not like dissing Alex Ferguson, because look what he did in the game.
This
But
away, mate.
just
This away. We're in Newcastle pod. You say whatever you like.
but just because of what Kevin did for me is, he went out on a limb for me, because he obviously sold Coley to get me. So
Well, he
you
always
know,
said that the deal wasn't going through unless he got you.
yeah,
I think
but
he was serious as well. He weren't going to go through unless he came. So he rated him
What
massively
confidence
high.
that
Yeah,
must give you.
massively high.
yeah, I think initially a few months before Kevin I'd rang up um Man United about me, and it was obviously knocked back then. But then, obviously, as I mentioned, with the European ruling, um, Alex Ferguson then contacted Kevin about Andy Cole, and then obviously Kevin then mentioned me. So that was, I think, although it happened quickly, there was dialogue before, which was quickly, turned
Yeah.
down. But no, Kevin was, he was incredible, and Rob had him for a few years longer, really. But I feel a little bit cheated that I only got Kevin for 2 years.
Yeah.
Because we did a lot in those 2 years, but I just wish that he could have stayed and we could have continued what he'd already built. Because there's no doubt we would have got to, I think 95, 96. would have been a big learning curve for us because we came so close. And
Yeah.
I think we probably struggled towards the end. Man United were serial winners then, and they'd been in that situation. We probably only had Pedro, who had won a league title, so and being in that position of somebody chasing you. So I think that was tough for us. As good as Man United were towards the end of the season, you always say the league table never lies, but for me, it did that year. Um,
Yeah.
we were the best team in the league.
Oh, I mean, as a fan, it was just absolutely amazing. Keith, one of the things that we've had Steve Watson on, we've had Lee Clark on, and they've both said the same thing independently. And it sounds to me like you probably are in alignment with this. And that is that they said that the relationship between Rob and King Kev Rob was like his son. Did you feel that he got a specialist treatment? Because Rob always
Yeah,
denies it, but every
that
player we meet is like, no,
All
Rob
the
had a
young
special.
players you meet. That's it.
Yeah.
that was always the sort of banter around the dressing room. But I mean, Rob delivered week in week out, so you can see why. He was a
See,
fantastic he was a
the
fantastic
youngsters.
player, but I mean, Kevin was great with everyone.
Hmm.
Most people had good relationships with Kevin. Um, I had difficulties at the club off the field stuff, and Kevin was absolutely brilliant with me. And I suppose like the likes of the young lads who'd come through, like Clarkey and Watto and Steve Howe and Robbie Ed, people like that, they all had great relationships with him. Whether you're in the team or not, it's nobody wants to be out of the team, but I think everyone just had that utmost respect for Kevin because of what he'd done previous as a player and then going back as a manager.
Did you find, Keith, now that you've had the sort of benefit of hindsight, when you've looked back, because you played for plenty of clubs, you've had lots of amazing footballing experiences, would you say your time at Newcastle was the definitive time in your career? Was it the best time of your career?
Oh, by a long, long way. Again, it's another question that you would get asked. What was your favorite time? What was your favorite club? And don't even have to think about it. Newcastle all the way. And I mean, the strange thing is for me, looking back, I left Newcastle when I was 23,
Yeah.
which is crazy. Obviously Kevin left, and then Kenny came in, and then Rob's favorite manager, Ruud Hullet, came in. So we all know what Ruud was like, but yeah,
Apparently he didn't treat Rob like he was his son.
no,
Or,
no,
or if he did, it
there's
was an
always
unhappy
one.
home.
Legitimate son. You think you treat me like?
There's always one, but
But
yeah,
I think
no,
if you asked all the players of that era, Les Ferdinand, Les when I played with Spurs and West Ham, he would say, and QPR before, he would say his best time. He only had 2 years at Newcastle. He would say Newcastle.
oh,
David Ginola would say Newcastle. And it's
Do
all
you think
because
so? I wonder if
all
Ginola
because
would say Spurs.
I definitely it was all because of Kevin Keegan. The 2 years, the 2-3 years we had there with Kevin under that team, and I agree with Keith. I think if we'd have stayed, we'd have definitely won something.
Yeah.
yeah,
100% won something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Him going put us back 10 years, I think.
yeah,
We're
totally.
still catching up. We're still catching up.
We are. I think
Yeah.
we are. No, I think he would have gone on to do the same sort of thing that Alex Ferguson did at Man United. I think
Yeah,
we had such a good team. We had him there and Terry, and we had a good owner in Sir John Hall and stuff. And I genuinely think we'd have, if he'd have stayed like 10, 15 years like Alex Ferguson, we'd have been as good as Man U or big as Man U.
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree, and I hate to hear it
Yeah.
because it's what we all felt at the time as well. Keith, let's talk about the games that you remember, the standout moments, and perhaps most importantly, the fans. You've already sort of alluded to the fact that you keep getting asked the same questions. Should we get those out the way? What are the questions you're always asked at these chat-ins and all the rest of it? Let's kind of bang those out so we can have a different conversation because you know the sort of things you're always asked. Why don't you tell us what you always get asked? We'll go through those and then we can come up with new things.
You're always asked about the fans, but I think anybody who knows football knows what Newcastle fans are like. The passion. I love going over there. I was over last weekend, but not last weekend, the weekend before against Bournemouth. So it's a little bit. It can be a little bit. I don't want to say toxic, but
No, that
it's
was a
it's
tough watch.
Yeah, it was, and it was one of those games where when we equalised, you never ever thought that we were going to go on and win the game. Sometimes you think, oh, an equaliser, the team has the momentum now to go and win it. Never ever thought that for 1 second. So, I mean, the fans are second to none. They are just, you know, I think it helps being a one club city. You think about what there is in Manchester with Man United, Man City, but you got those little clubs beside your Oldhams, your Rochdales, your Berries, your Boltons,
Mm.
so that helps. But there's no denying they're as good of fans as you could ever want to play in front of.
I mean, I think that's why so many of our team, the entertainers, come back all the time. You look, Tino
Yeah,
Asprilla,
Yeah.
he was here 2 years. They love him when he comes back. I didn't realise
yeah,
Keith was here that short time under Kevin. Do you know what I mean? And I think Les, he was only here 2 years.
yeah.
Giola, but when they come back, the fans just love you still, don't they? They sort of like we go back and they love the entertainers. Sort of like all the
Yeah, I
guys are a lot
think,
older now. Obviously, they're all
Well,
I think
well,
because
they have to be older, Rob. It's time, isn't it? That's the passing of
I,
time.
you can pass it
I
down to your
think
son though.
You seem
You could
surprised.
pass it down to your son or your
I
grandson.
think because we were part of a sort of team. I know we didn't win anything, but because we were a part of an entertaining side, you know, people are never going to forget the football that we played. and
Yeah,
and you look at that 95, 96 season. Yeah, we had 19 home games and we won 17, drew one and lost one. You know,
Yeah.
to not win a league after that, is absolutely criminal.
Keith? Do you look at football now the way that I look at football? And I think I much preferred playing in our era and more exciting. I look at it now and I think, like for instance, like a winger like yourself, there isn't
Yeah,
no wingers, are there? We play. Everyone plays with two wide men, but they're not wingers, are they? Not like in the way that I find football was exciting when we played. Even playing in it, even when he was injured, you used to watch the lads because it was like going to be exciting games, big
Yeah.
goals. Do you think the same that I don't? It's not as
yeah.
exciting anymore.
I,
It's
d- no, I don't enjoy it as much to watch. And I think when you speak to fans, they would say the same. A lot of fans who remember sort of 90s, early 2000, they would say the exact same. Everyone's about possession football and all that. And you said it about wingers. It's all these inverted wingers. Who want to come inside, don't want to beat the man, get to the line. Obviously at Newcastle, we had Alan Shearer and Les Ferdinand. What do they want? Crosses. So you had to get crosses in.
yeah.
So it was.
Or you got in,
What's that?
or you got a bollock in, didn't you?
Oh, exactly, exactly. So yeah, no, football is not what it used to be. Definitely
No,
not.
no.
Who do you look out for, Keith? Are you still, because you said when you were growing up you're a Manchester United fan, and I do apologise for the terrible childhood you must have had. But what about sort of since being a pro? Who's your team now?
Oh, I am. To be fair, I am actually Newcastle.
That's
It's not
brilliant.
one of the. It's
He's,
not
he's put it
like
right.
Yeah, I'm the same though.
I
I'm the
can't.
same as the effect it's had on us.
Honestly, when you play for a club like Newcastle, it just gets into you, into your blood. Um, and I'm there sort of 5, 6 games every season. So it's hard not to be. You still I'm still going to look out for Man United results. I'm sure it's like Rob
Yeah,
will look out for West Ham
yeah,
results.
definitely.
And that I became a Man United fan because my dad was a Man United fan. So you can't sort of erase that from being 6, 7 years of age.
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate to actually go and sign for the club that I supported. And obviously one of the biggest clubs in the world, but certainly, you know, because because of the time I had at Newcastle, the 4 years I had with, the I'd say most of it was ups. 90 95 96 season, then we obviously got the cup final as well, 98. But most of it was ups, qualifying Champions League. But there is always going to be downs. But just because the time I had there, being the most enjoyable of my career, it's got to be Newcastle.
I have memories of that time, Keith, of being in the stands when you weren't starting games. I don't think that was under Keegan. I think it was under Kenny Dalglish, where we would be doing the "Bring on Gillespie" chant. Do you remember that? Do you remember sitting on the bench, hearing the crowd cheering for you to come on?
Do you know what that was? That was Kevin when Kevin was the manager.
Signed Tino, weren't we? And Peter Beardsley was trying to get everyone in the team. And I think
Yeah,
he
I,
was
th- I
thinking,
think. Yeah, as Rob says, being the youngest, and I wasn't one to go and knock on the manager's door. At that time I was 21. I wouldn't have been knocking on the manager's door. So Peter was playing right wing. Tino had moved up front with Les, and Peter Beardsley, fantastic footballer, but he's not a right winger.
Yeah.
it changed the
You
way. It
know,
actually did change the way we played, didn't it? In
yeah.
certain games, it changed the way we played. 'Cause we used to like keep one wing, Ginola the other.
Yeah.
Which we give them the ball, they take people on, they get crosses in.
Yeah.
But it changed it so like when Pete went on the right,
He'd be
Pete
cutting
wasn't
in,
playing, yeah, but then
Yeah.
he'd be coming in, so the right wasn't so effective then. Do you know what I mean? That was
Well, from a fan's perspective, what I was going to say is from a fan's perspective, when we started the chant, and it was probably just, how everyone's deluded themselves. I know I certainly do. And you like to kind of imagine history how you wanted it to be. But my memory was whenever we would do the Bring on Gillespie chant, it would happen.
One of the times where I was on the bench, we were playing Bolton. I think it was Bolton. It was either Bolton or QPR. We were 1-0 down. And I knew they were sort of singing for me to come on, and he see me on the bench, and he turned around, and he went, "Go and get warmed up. They're singing for you." So I knew it was coming on.
It worked. I told you it worked.
Yeah. So, but Kevin was that. Kevin would be that type of person, because he was up close and personal with the fans.
Yeah.
It was like this is their club.
yeah.
Go out and entertain for them.
I mean, sometimes
And
if he saw a lull in the game, didn't he? He'd sort of like the crowd. Well, what's going to get the crowd up?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Bring Keith on, the crowd's going to go mad.
But you're absolutely right. He would respond. Like if you would go, Keegan, give us a wave, he would.
Yeah.
There's a lot of managers that they would hear it and they'd completely ignore it.
Most managers, I think a lot of managers these days, if they heard crowd singing a name, they'd be like, "That I ain't putting him on. No way am I putting him on."
Yeah.
Absolutely no way am I putting him on. I'm not letting them tell me what to do. Despite the fact that he's actually, I should put him on, really. And I think that was Keegan. It was a different manager, wasn't he? He was sort of like, when I was saying to Andy, when he signed players, he used to ask you, didn't he? He'd go, "Who's the best left back you played against, Keith? And who's the best centre forward you played against, Andy Cole?" And he'd always ask you, always, which I don't think players know. Do you know what I mean? So Keith would know the best left back in the league because he'd play against him.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference what Kevin was to where it is now. No one would ask players.
So he'd want to sign that player.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
So if Keith said, by the way, he's a great left back,
yeah.
You know what I mean? He'd go,
all right, let's get him.
Yeah, if he needed a left back, he'd be going to get the next left back, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Coley asked Coley about who was, and he said, Darren Peacock must have played against him at QPR and played really well. And he said, Darren Peacock I find tough. And he went and got him, sort of thing. So he was very much like that.
Who did you recommend, Rob?
No, he said to me, who would you like to play midfield with? And I remember him saying it. And I said, well, if I had a choice, I said it'd be Batty or Ince.
And he got you one of them?
Yeah. And he got me one, yeah. So it's like, that players know.
I'm surprised you said anybody there, Rob, because
I'll do it all.
It's a little bit different for me because who's the best you played against? Because it's a left back, but for you, it's like another centre midfielder who is possibly going to come in and take your place.
No,
so I'm surprised you said anything at all.
I should have said a really rubbish one.
Yeah. Just name a goalkeeper or something. I reckon Schmeichel would be brilliant in midfield.
To be fair, his words were, "Who would you like to play with? No, who would you like to replace you?"
Yeah. It was
that was the preferential question for the manager's son.
It's the long-term thinking. Keith, let's talk about something, because you've had some seriously famous games. One of them, of course, I mean, we had the privilege of a very quick meeting you in the Barcelona game at St James's earlier this season, which was a brilliant game, by the way, and I still stand by we should have won it. But of course, that's one of the games that is synonymous with you and your unbelievable performance. I mean, the Tino hat-trick people talk about, but you were the assist king that night and you had it on a plate, didn't you? Was that the best you played for Newcastle? Because I can remember you having a few other brilliant games, but is that the one that stands out to you?
Yeah, I think it was the best, probably the best that I've played in my career in any game. But I think it's obviously you do have other good games, but I think because of the magnitude of the size of that game, everyone's going to remember that more. But yeah, I mean it was one of those nights when it just everything goes right, and as a winger. It's just give me the ball because I knew that the left back I had him every time, and it wasn't that I was tricky or anything. I was quicker than him. That was it, and it was like hit the ball past him, and you'll get there first. And obviously, once you get there, it's all about the delivery. Then, so yeah, it was an incredible night. Nobody.
You know what, Keith. When you're doing that, do you sort of when you're coming against a player? I've always wanted because I was a winger, but I was never quick, like as quick as Keith.
Yeah.
Do you always like you think I've got him here
Yeah,
after maybe 10 minutes of the game? You think I've got him here? I'm quicker
yeah.
than him.
Well, the first goal, I never actually really got the ball. Um, I think that the first time I actually probably put a cross in was like on a breakaway, and it was from the left and across it with my left foot. But the first time I actually got the chance to stand them up was actually the first goal. And I mean, if you
Mm.
see the first goal, I picked the ball up, and it's just a quick shift of the ball and across, just make that yard. But from then I
Yeah,
thought, right, I've got him. And well, if you see the second goal, sort of,
second goal was
you know,
it's a joke. Yeah,
it was a drop of the shoulder, from
and a
from
race.
inside from inside my own half, and then I just knew that he wasn't catching me.
Mm.
So yeah, no, if there's certain players that you'd have played against, and you're like, I know I'm quicker than him.
Mm.
Just give me the ball.
Does it sort of like frustrate you now? Look at these players because we have got quick players like
Well, that's
in the game. Does it frustrate you now? You think like I do, push it past him because you,
Yeah,
you can't stop. You can learn tricks, but you can't stop pace. If
yeah,
you're quicker than
exactly.
someone, I can't stop you.
Well, that's the thing that we've seen this season. I've been sitting there when it's been driving you crazy, Rob, where we've seen Anthony Gordon's beaten his man. There's an example. Anthony Gordon's beaten his man, got him on a yellow card, and then stopped taking him on with
Yeah,
60 minutes left of the game, and he just stops. What's that about, Keith? What's he doing that for?
yeah, exactly. I mean, the one thing as a winger, and you've got that left back booked, is like right, and the rest of the players should be like going right.
Mm.
Get the ball to him as
Yeah.
much as you can, because one more tackle, and he's gone off, and then obviously the advantage is there then. But I don't understand players who have the guy marking him who's on a yellow, that they don't flip and just keep testing them, because you know how rash fullbacks can be, especially wingers getting the ball. I
Because
don't
I always
understand.
say, players these players, they want to get the ball, they want to take touches, they want to do a skill and stuff like that. I always say when I'm talking about Keith, he never wanted to do any of that. So we had Ginola on one side doing all those sort
Well,
of
that's
tricks and
largely
stuff.
because you say he couldn't, Rob. You
No,
say
I,
he
I,
didn't have any
he
skill.
couldn't.
I didn't have any tricks, no.
No, he had no tricks. But he was quick.
Yeah,
He
he
was
was
rapid,
he
and he
was
knew he was
blooming
rapid.
quick.
He was
Yeah.
knew he was. I can't remember the game. Was it Southampton away when someone
Yeah,
I knew you pushed it past someone and they tried to like
finale.
yeah, Benali tried to get him and he ran off the pitch and he ran onto the running track and he run and he actually ran round him. Must have given him another 5 yard start, and he's still he's still got there quick. And I look at Alanga now and I think you've got no skills basically. No, you haven't. But
But he's quick.
you're quick.
Yeah.
But he's not intelligent enough for what Keith knew he was quick.
Yeah.
He knew what he was good at. And I think Alanga looks to me, he's quick.
It's the same with Osula. He's quick as well, but it's whether the footballing
You've got to
brains.
know how to use it. Do you mean you've got to
Yeah.
know how to
Yeah.
use quickness and pace
I
and
think
stuff?
I think with Alanga, he's obviously very, very quick, but
Mm.
I don't think he's ever really learnt how to cross the
No,
ball. His
no,
final delivery is not good at all.
no. You're spot on.
£55 million, Keith.
Yeah, I know, and it's a lot. It's a lot of money, for somebody who just hasn't delivered at all. And I suppose if you look at the whole what we did sign, you know, has any of it worked? Waldemari hasn't worked. Vissa hasn't worked. Alanga hasn't worked. So it's a lot of money spent.
Yeah.
For very little return.
What do you put it down to, Keith? Did we sign the wrong players, or have they not adapted into the system quickly enough, or should we have tweaked the system to accommodate them? What's the issue, do you think?
I mean, I think it was unfortunate, the whole Isaac situation, because he's probably the one player that you really wanted to keep. Um, you've seen the source of goals that he got for us, but when you look at sort of Walter Matty, who we all of a sudden signed, it seemed to be. I'm not sure I want to say panic buy, but when you see it now, it does look like a panic buy.
I think him
You
and
know,
Wissa, Keith, I agree. I think both of them
yeah,
are panics.
and obviously we signed Vissa, and he's crocked for quite a while. When he has played, oh, he looks miles off it, and you're wondering, did he have that good time at Brentford because he had Mbuemo beside him? I don't know. It's
Even then, he still managed to put it in the back of the net 19 times. I mean, that can't just be because he's been given the ball in a nice position.
yeah. I mean, I think the surprising thing, when we played, I forget who we played. Was it the Bournemouth game? Um, I think Eddie Howe said that week that this had been Vis's best week of training. So
Mm,
you were sort of reading into that, and you're going, right, we maybe see him start today. He actually didn't even come on.
no.
And you're like, you're talking about a player where a lot of money's been spent at him. Walter Matty, for me, hasn't worked at all. Um, he had a decent enough start, but I think you've seen the German newspapers sort of ridiculing the price that we actually paid for him. So we've obviously paid over the top for a player, and he hasn't really lived up to
Yeah, but it's not, Keith,
anything.
he's not like a number 9, is he? Or he's not a
No,
number. We don't play a 10, and he's not
no,
a number 9. So I don't know where he's not good enough to get in our midfield. For one,
no.
you know what I mean? He's not.
He did all right in the
Oh,
last 15-20 against Arsenal, to be
Yeah, it's
fair.
Arsenal.
Lovely, lovely little assist for Wissa that wasn't, but it was a nice moment.
We don't play that way.
No.
no. But I mean, you look at the size of him, and you would like, he's too nice.
Mm,
Where is he flipping, jumping for balls? With your arms out.
mm,
And if you catch somebody good,
yeah,
you know, look at the strikers we have with Les and Allen. They didn't care if they caught a defender in the side of the head. But
Well,
Walter Matty's the type
Ferguson
that if he
said
does
that
it,
as
will
well.
pick him up.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I think that's the way the game is these days.
Well, I wasn't
Yeah,
expecting us to talk about the current team, but Keith, you clearly watch enough of it. So
yeah.
let's go there because you've opened the can of worms here. So you've dug your own hole here, Keith. We're going to ask
Good.
about it. Also, you do a lot of work with the Irish FA, I believe. You work with the youth in Ireland as well. So you can pick a player. You're informed about these things. So Keith, let's give you the keys to the kingdom. What would you do with the club right now? We're believing probably by the time this goes out, there's been some great big meeting with the PIF, with Yasser Al Rumayyan and various other heads of various different businesses. They're meeting with Eddie. They're meeting with the chairman. They're meeting with the director of football. We're led to believe it'll be a proper discussion about what's going to happen the summer, whether Eddie stays, what the transfers situation is going to be, which players should leave, which players they should keep. Let's say that you're in that meeting, Keith. You're given the loudest voice. What do you tell them to do? If you were a trusted advisor of the owners of the club, would you tell them to keep Eddie Howe? Would you tell them to get rid of him? Which players would you be keeping? Who would you be targeting?
I would be keeping him. This is sort of one season in five, really, where it's been poor. Um, I think obviously delivering that first trophy was massive. I would be keeping him, but if things hadn't changed by Christmas, then you've just got to go. Thanks very much. You've done a great job, but we need to progress, keep progressing with the club, and at the minute we're not doing that. I would give him a transfer window. It probably was very unsettling and difficult for him last summer because the Isaac situation went on far too long.
Yeah.
The players that you would keep, you've obviously got to keep Bruno. Tonali, Hall, Chow. Gosh, I'm trying to think who else.
Louis Miley.
Lewis Miley, of course,
Yep.
yes. Gordon to an extent. If Gordon wants to go, I'll be like, right, see you later.
Yeah,
Because
The noise seems to be that he wants out. Maybe we're wrong, but the noise we're hearing is that he's coming to the end of his time at the club.
yeah, well, if he wants to go, we don't want another situation like we got last summer. But certainly, certainly, there's a lot of places up for grabs. There's a going to be a busy time the transfer market. Livermento, I do like Livermento, but I think he's been so poor
yeah.
the
You said
last.
that.
I
Yeah.
don't know whether it's to do with the injuries that he's had this season, but he's been really really poor. You'd be looking at maybe getting a right winger in, because unless he gives Alanga, a chance, some players can get better. You look at sort of Jacob Murphy's improved since he first come to the club, and 2-3 years ago you thought there was no way back for him. But certainly we need to get a new goalkeeper, because he doesn't know which one's his best.
Mm.
I probably feel a little bit sorry for Ramsdale. I thought Pope probably wouldn't play another game for the club and would be gone this summer, and then all of a sudden he was put in, and that's the sort of thing Pope does. He's
Nearly got
lucky
sent
enough.
off, didn't he? He
Yeah,
was lucky.
Again.
yeah.
Yeah.
I probably think it probably was a sending off, because I think
Yeah.
Goikarez, you know, was going to get past it, and he was going to shoot from where he was.
Yeah.
So it was a goal scoring opportunity. So I think he was very, very fortunate. So yeah, there's a lot of changes needing to be
What
done.
about a centre forward, Keith? Someone who scores goals.
Oh,
Who would you go for? Who would you?
that's the thing.
Mm.
You look at. I don't really know the European leagues.
Yeah.
And obviously I'd never heard of Walter Matty before, but he
Mm.
wa- he wa- he was the German centre forward anyway. I think so. You know, not not having heard of the main German centre forward. You think you would have heard of him, but it's who is out there. Who can
That's
we
the thing, isn't it?
attract?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
You
Victor
know,
Osimhen is the big sort of he's the big link, isn't he? He's the sort of perhaps the most pedigree striker that people think we'd have a chance of getting, and he's a
what
very
what
very
what?
good player.
But what age is he? Is he not? Is he not in his 30s?
He's
Is he?
27. Victor
Allegedly.
Gosh,
Osimhen
Allegedly, is that?
currently for no 98,
yeah.
29th of December 1998.
Gosh, I always thought it was a lot older. But yeah, no, it's a perfect age.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Just
good. It's a good age, isn't
hitting
it?
his peak. But as you say, Rob, it's if you can get somebody ideally who knows the league and played in the league. For instance, say Aston Villa said, "Oh, we don't want Ollie Watkins anymore."
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you would go all out to try and get him, because I think he's a really good player.
Yeah.
But it's trying to identify players that are available, players that have played in the league. And I can't even think of too many off the top of my head.
That's why we're led to believe that the new plan is going to be younger, untested, not prem proven, probably from far flung areas of the world.
Yeah, but that's always dangerous. You still need your core of experienced players who know the league.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say.
Yeah. Well, if you
I think,
keep the ones that Keith mentioned, if you keep Tonali, Hall, Bruno, Miley, Chow, that's a pretty good starting point, isn't it?
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, but again, for somebody, it's like you saying, let's all go and get all these young players from abroad that never played in. First of all, they've got to get used to living in Newcastle.
Yeah.
So they're not just they've got to live living where they are with the weather, or the way the weather is.
You always talk about the weather.
I do. I had to get used to coming out of London. And then it's the place of, can they play in the Premier League? Premier League's totally different to
yeah,
any other league. It is so quick. It's so it's
But you know what they've been
every
doing?
game.
They've been looking at Brighton and their success with the signings. They've been looking at Bournemouth and their success with untested Prem players. And they've been watching more hits than misses. And I suspect
yeah.
they've just been going, that's what we need to do. That's where the
Don't
value
you think
is.
every club's trying to do that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I think I think we're you know, if you look at last summer, I think if Isaac had a signed for Liverpool before Ekatike,
Mm.
Totally.
we would have had a great chance of getting Ekatike.
Totally.
And
Or João
I
Pedro, he might not have gone to Chelsea. He might have taken the job with us and so on. Yep.
yeah, so I mean Ekatike would have been a fantastic signing. You know, he's up there in terms of what he does with Isaac, if not better for me.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, that was the succession plan, wasn't it? And well, we all know how that went. Keith, I've got some quick fire ones for you that I've got written down. Because I fear we've covered some of these, but it's just been nice to get them in a sort of rapid fire mode, if that's all right.
Okay.
I'm mindful of who I'm sat with, by the way. Best player you played with?
He played with some good ones.
I
I know.
know. You know, it's always between Peter Beardsley and Eric Cantona, and I just
Ooh.
slightly edge towards Cantona.
I mean, that's a fair shot. I think Peter Beardsley would probably accept that, wouldn't
No,
he?
I'm not sure he would.
No, no, you're not saying Pedro.
No.
Okay. We didn't get an answer. You said you always ask this, but we didn't get an answer. Who's the toughest defender you faced?
The toughest would have been Ashley Cole.
Really?
You know,
He was a
yeah,
player in his day, wasn't he?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He was quick. He was one that you know I'd have struggled against probably.
Mm.
One other one that I thought was, you know, I know he played for England, was really underrated was Tony Dorigo. I
Okay.
thought he was a really good left back.
Yeah.
Fair shout.
Yeah.
St James's Park or anywhere else?
No, St James's Park.
Love that. I think you've already answered this one. Keegan or Dalglish?
Or Keegan.
Yeah.
I loved Kenny as well.
Mm.
Kenny
I
was
did.
great, but it was just a hard act to follow.
Really hard. Yeah, exactly. The teammate you'd take with you into a five-a-side team?
Ooh. Peter Beardsley.
Yeah, not
Good
Cantona.
answer.
There
Good
you go.
answer.
So that he gets some points for
No,
that.
well, Peter was one of the best you could see in training, but he did it on the pitch as well.
Yeah, love that. Best atmosphere you've ever played in?
I think the Barcelona game that
Barca
night.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Favorite goal of your career? Because you scored quite a few, Keith.
Huh, did I? um,
Scored more than Ginola.
my,
Yeah.
fa- my f- my favorite for Newcastle was probably against Blackburn. Kenny was a manager then. I actually played up front that day. Um, Big long ball. I think it was Katsbaya played it, and I sort of controlled it on my thigh and volleyed it in the top corner past Tim Flowers.
I remember it.
Yeah.
You played up front
So
that day, did you?
yeah, I played up front. We had no fit striker.
Hey, probably at Newcastle now you'll be playing up front.
Yeah,
Just got pace,
We
mate.
could do worse. He knows how to finish.
Yeah,
You'd have got on the end of Voltemada's goal, assist rather. Oh well. Rob, what's gone with your memory today? Usually you have a laser precision of every game. And today Keith's named a couple of things and you're like, what? When was that?
Yeah, I was at the marathon yesterday.
to be fair, Bez, when I mentioned to Bez, I say about this game, that game, and I'm like, I remember most things. Bez is like, oh, I've just no idea. How do you remember all this?
We're all older than Keith. See, once he gets 60, like the rest of us.
Yeah. Well, you've got 10 years to go, haven't you, Keith? You're 50, aren't you?
51.
51.
See,
There
Yeah.
you go. There you go. Looks good on it. Worst dressed in the Newcastle dressing room?
Oh, Tino.
Yeah.
Tino. Do you remember his?
pajamas.
Do you remember his when he came in for when we had suits and he had all those cartoon characters?
Disney character thing, didn't he? He had
Oh,
His tie.
horrendous.
no. It was like a.
What, a full suit?
It was a
Oh,
proper.
dear.
Yeah,
Oh,
Disney
dear.
characters all over it. Yeah.
I'm guessing you guys
Oh.
didn't let that one go.
I don't know if we ripped it up. Did we rip it up? Did we?
Did you
Oh,
ever go to any of his parties, Keith? Because Rob will not tell us about his parties because he didn't go to them.
I've been to a couple. He actually he FaceTimed me during the Bournemouth game last week, so he did. So yeah. He FaceTimed me quite a bit, but when he FaceTimed me, he was lifting a bottle of I don't know, looked like tequila or something. So he was on the drink. So
So he keeps trying to get all the lads to go out, doesn't he? See him in Colombia,
oh
doesn't
yeah,
he?
but I think if we go out, I don't know whether we make it back or not.
No, exactly. Yeah, the entertainers. That's where the entertainers have gone down.
Yeah,
Taken out in a blaze of
Yeah,
Tino-related glory.
entertainers gone
yeah.
missing in Colombia.
Did you have a pre-match superstition?
I just always wore long sleeves. But I would be like, you know, like if you went to the toilet at the ground and you went to one of the urinals and we'd won that week, that would be in my head, and I go, I'm going to that one again. You know, footballers are
Yeah.
really
Yeah, they
strange with
are.
little
Yeah,
quirks. So yeah,
I was the
probably
same.
that.
Yeah, I was the same, but I had to have short sleeves on. But I would
Yeah.
do stuff like that. Like if I wore them pair of pants
Yeah.
Yeah,
when I went to the game, I'd wear them again.
Yeah.
yeah,
Then I'd play crap, and I'm not wearing them again.
yeah.
So like, yeah,
Bin it.
yeah. The minute, yeah, that's why you played well.
Yeah, it was definitely the pants. And one word to describe the Newcastle fans.
Awesome.
Awesome. We'll take that. And then when you look back at Keith Gillespie, the footballer, how do you hope you're remembered?
I know it's part of the entertainers, but just probably somebody who got, you know, the crowd on the edge of their seats, because that's what wingers did when they got the ball. And when I got the ball at times, you can feel the fans just edging forward, you know, as soon as you get it, because they know that's I've got one thing in my mind as soon as I get the ball, and that is taking somebody on. So I would say that.
Yeah.
See,
That's
keep
what you were
exciting.
always saying,
It's
isn't it?
entertainment.
Yeah.
They seem to forget it these days.
Yeah.
It's what Keegan used to always tell us, wasn't it? Go out
Yep.
and entertain the
Go out
crowd.
and entertain them. Yep.
We need that back, don't
We
we?
do.
We need that back.
Definitely.
We've had moments, to be fair to Eddie, we've had plenty of entertaining moments. It's
Yeah.
just we're in a slump right now, and who knows where it's going to go.
Yeah.
Keith, what since retiring, since leaving the beautiful game, you've been involved. I sort of alluded to it earlier as well. You've been involved in some kind of scouting, some youth work, and so on.
Agency.
Where's your life taken you post playing?
Yeah, no, I'm involved football agency now. Myself and another guy over here. So there's plenty of travel with it, you know, because we're obviously based over here. We're back and forward to England, Scotland, Europe, you know. So it's
And Keith, is that like mainly young Irish players?
no,
No.
we got we work alongside a lot of agents in Europe as well.
Yeah.
But we do have a lot of sort of young Irish ones. You know, we've got a good young one at West Ham at the minute, another one at Burnley, Ipswich, Luton. We've got more going this summer, but we do work you know, with other you know, seasoned pros as well
Yeah.
that we look after. So yeah, no, it's we've been doing it about 8 or 9 years, and you know, it takes a while to build it up, and but obviously with me playing the game, it's at times there's more of an in at a club,
Yeah.
as opposed to other agents mightn't find it as easy.
No, that makes sense. Your name will open doors, Keith, won't it?
Yeah.
With that in mind, you're obviously, with your understanding of young players and so on, what would you be saying if you had an opportunity with the Newcastle hierarchy, talking about the youth focus? Because we see, I think Steve Harper does it, doesn't he? And Shola does loans and so on. We sort of see every now and again, we'll see a youth player come through the ranks, Louis Miley being one of them, Elliot Anderson being another. Prior to that, we had the Longstaff brothers. But it's not like a conveyor belt of talent that's always coming through. So how would you be tweaking that for the club? How would you be getting more from our young players? And what sort of reputation does Newcastle have with agents and so on as a place to breed young talent?
I think if you look at Newcastle, you know, it's a big area for scouting players, you know, and there's no way anybody in that area should really fall through the net going somewhere else,
Mm.
because you know, if you're born in Newcastle, all you want to do is play for Newcastle. So make sure you identify, make sure you don't let any, you know,
Yeah.
go elsewhere, you know, because that should never happen for a club like Newcastle, especially you know, with the influx of money that they got, money's no object to them, in scouting, but we always want to see young players coming through, especially Geordie people. They're proud, they're very patriotic about where they're from. They want to see young players, and that's why, it's great to see, Lewis Miley doing so well. But there needs to be a conveyor belt where you're, every 2 years minimum, that young players are coming through. So, there's no excuses now for the way clubs work now. Every little detail is they probably go over the top with every detail now. You know, with stats and all that there, and running power, and just ridiculous stuff now. Whereas we didn't have that years ago, but you still produced like exceptionally good footballers. You look, I doubt, if somebody was looking at Paul Gascoigne now and they go, "Ah, he's got no pace," you know, they wouldn't have signed him, and you're going, flip me, one of the best you could find in the Northeast. So I think there's probably a little bit too much homework done on
because
young players.
I'm the same as you. Do you know when you're talking to your young players coming through? Do you tell them just to ignore the stats? Because I used to tell my sons to ignore stats.
Yeah,
Like you say, when Kevin used to say, you can lose it 9 times. The 10th time you'll create a goal for us. But his
yeah,
stats would be, oh my God, 9 times out of 10 he loses it. But it's because he's an attacking player, so they need to try and do things, don't they? So do you say to
yeah,
your players, ignore the stats? It doesn't matter.
yeah. Oh, of course, because that's what I say. I think there's just too much emphasis put on
Yeah.
stats now. It's the same with games. The emphasis that they go, oh, possession, expected goals, crap like that. It's like, what was that all about?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, you
I,
look
I,
at Lincoln City have just won the league. Absolutely
yeah,
pissed the league, League One. They are bottom of the league with possession. Bottom of the league.
Well, I know
well,
you love XG, Rob. I mean, you're always texting me about.
I still don't even know what it is. It's extra grant. That's grant.
5 minutes in, you're giving me the XG stats. 10 minutes in, oh look, and
You
it's
know me, I hate all that. It's like as well. Oh, it's running stats, and like we used to, you don't run if you've got the ball, do you? So,
no,
so our stats at Newcastle have been terrible. We had the ball most of the time, so our stats would have been, oh, they ain't run far, have they? Well,
yeah.
no, we ain't run far because we've got
They
the
didn't
ball.
need to. They
No.
passed it.
you're not
If you're
chasing it.
running loads, if your stats are running a high, that means you ain't got it, and you've got to go. You've got to go
You're
and get it.
chasing. You're
Yeah,
chasing everyone.
yeah.
Yeah.
Love it, love it. Listen to you old lads knocking their heads together,
Yeah.
eh?
Love it when I feel the key.
It was better in our day.
We've normally got a beer in our hand when we're doing this.
Oh, you
Not
got
as
to love
Guinness
it.
we've got in our hand.
Get you'll be one of the. You could just imagine you two. I mean, obviously Keith would probably be the nurse in the nursing home because of the age difference. But you just imagine you, Rob, in your 90s, just sitting there going, "Oh, it's not football anymore."
You should see when all the entertainers get round there. It's exactly like we were 30 years ago, honestly. Same jokes.
Oh, good times,
Yeah.
good times. Now, Rob, we got told off by one of our lovely listeners, viewers, for when we had Graham Swan in, and we failed to ask him your question, the question that we have asked every other guest we've had on the show, and we failed to ask Graham Swan. So we might have to text him to get the answer out in the next episode. But it falls on you to ask Mr. Gillespie here the most important question of the day.
People do like it. So all the question is, Keith, is in your phone book, who is your most famous person? Doesn't matter if you've called them or not.
It could just be, Keith, in a more modern way, it could be in your phone contacts. We don't expect you to have a phone book.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Your address book. Have you got his address?
Rob takes everything down by hand.
See, now you've just got an old joke. It's not funny anymore.
His Rolodex. Yeah.
It's always going to be football related. I suppose it's probably going to be something like Tino.
Yeah, it's a Tino, yeah.
It's fair.
Tino, I've got Mark Allen. Rob probably doesn't even know who he is.
No, should I?
Snooker.
He's
in the top 10. He's in the quarterfinals of the Crucible. Yeah, he's in the top 10 in the world.
See, Keith, Rob was hoping to hear you say someone like Shakira. That's
no, I think Tino
Those
probably
days are
got her
gone.
number. Tino will have her number, so I might be able to get it. She is Colombian, isn't she?
Do you know what? Can we find
Let's
that
ask
out?
Tino.
Can
He's the
you
most famous
text
person.
Tino and see if he's got Shakira's number? Not that we just want to know if he's got it. Not that we want it. Just
He'll
has
tell
he
you
got
if
it?
he's got it or not. Yeah.
Here, the chances are Shakira's blocked him.
Yeah, he's got all the numbers. Just nobody talks to him.
It's this guy again. Yeah, Keith's the only one he answers. That's why he's FaceTiming Keith all the time, because no one else picks up.
Yeah.
Not this guy again.
To be fair,
brilliant.
there's a lot of time I don't answer because half the time you don't know what he's talking about.
Well, his English is still dreadful, isn't it? After
Oh.
all these years, he's awful.
Yeah.
Isn't he? He can't speak a word of it. Swear words.
Brilliant. You got to love it. Keith, what an absolute pleasure getting a chance to talk to you. We did more about the current team than I was expecting, but it sounds like I mean, we've been saying this for some time. We basically need to get some of the entertainers together to take over the club.
Oh, that would be good, wouldn't it?
I mean, wouldn't that be if we could get a consortium and they would bring in the two of you, Bez, Alan?
Yeah.
Who else would you have in your brain trust of experts?
Oh, Les.
Yeah.
Lee Clark,
Shay
Watson,
Given.
Shay Given.
Basically, bring all the entertainers back, add in a couple of others, Shay and one or two others.
Well, Alan wasn't really an entertainer, was he, Keith? He ruined us a little bit, didn't he? Cross it in. No, we play.
She
arrives, the less entertaining.
Yeah.
I hope Alan doesn't see this, or he'll be blocking you, Rob.
I will.
He was pretty good, was Mr. Shearer, to be fair.
He scored a few goals, didn't he?
He scored a few goals.
So he keeps telling us.
Yeah. But Keith, I mean, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a real pleasure. It's been great getting an insight on your time, and just hearing you say you prefer Keegan to Ferguson was enough for me, to be honest. We could have ended the interview then. That's all I needed to hear.
Yeah, it was just the Canton Beardsley bit.
Canton Beardsley, we might have to cut that out, Rob. Yeah. Might have to use some AI trickery and have him just say Rob Lee.
Yeah. No one would believe that.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Keith, top man.
Keith, what a pleasure. What a pleasure. Thank you. You've been with Adopted Geordies. Rob wants to sign off this week because he really stuffed up last week. So it's kind of over to him to say goodbye, to tell you to get involved on the socials and all the rest of it. And we'll be back really soon. I'll hand over to Mr. Rob Lee.
Now, see, you take the piss again, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
You were, because just for the last one I said adoptive Geordies.
Yeah.
And apparently it's adopted Geordies.
Yeah. Why was this apparently? This is episode 36, Rob.
Sometimes I don't listen to you. When you talk about stuff
for every show.
Don't listen. Adopted Geordies. Get on the socials.
That'll do.
Love you.
We'll see you soon.